Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 7 o'clock on Saturday the 21st of November. Just making my way down to the land. As always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are, down on the land. Light is just beginning to break. This time you can actually just about make out the polytunnel and perhaps the cabin across the field. It's a cool morning, but at least it's not raining. This last few weeks has definitely been a challenge with the weather, so hopefully we'll not have that same challenge today and we'll be able to get a few things done. Anyway, it is still too dark for you to see much on this video, so I'll just get myself across, open the cabin up, get a fire going, and we'll see what we can get done today. Well, we've finally got a bit of daylight so you can see what's going on. This is pretty much where we left off from last week when it was chucking it down with rain. Garden room is weather tight. Got a little fire going. I do need to experiment with that fire because it's not drawing like it used to. I just popped a couple of these 3x2s down in the polytunnel. I'm going to give those a paint because I've got a couple of little jobs in the garden room that I want to do. I'll show you that in a second. So I'll be doing that. Kettle's on, boiling away for a cup of coffee. Not much to tell you about the raised beds really, other than the pumpkin and squash has died back and has left me with my little pumpkins. So I'll have to be doing something with those shortly. And similarly, the squash, that's all died back now. I might do that tomorrow, the garden, rather than today, because I'm conscious that if you look at the sky, we have got lots and lots of rain clouds everywhere I look, all the way around. So I might leave the garden beds until tomorrow and to look at them then and just focus on the jobs I want to do in and around the cabin. Potatoes have been beaten to death by the weather this last few weeks and had a little bit of frost damage. I think you can see that. You can, yeah. But I'm going to leave those in and give them another, see if I can get a couple of weeks before I delve into that barrel to see what there is. So yeah, we'll ignore the garden today and just focus on the cabin because there are a couple of jobs that I want to do. The fire is trying to go, but it's not like it used to be. Anyway, the main focus of attention today, if I quickly whiz around to the tractor garage. When I installed this, it's my little owl on duty. That will be going somewhere more permanent when I get time. But what I wanted to focus on today was the tractor garage roof. When I put this in, I just used feather edge boarding, and whilst it's been okay, it's given it some shelter, it's not been great, and the weather is getting inside those boards. So the plan is to put another skin over the top of that tractor garage roof, just to make it more weather tight for when we get into winter proper and we get lots more rain and potentially some snow. So that's really the main job today. There are quite a few little jobs inside the cabin. There'll be fiddly little things like putting door handles on, because at the minute there aren't. that's the sheeting I'm going to be using. It's metal for the tractor garage roof. But the 3x2s I'm painting really are to run along the centre of the roof line where these infill battens are. I'm conscious that it's a large span, and if I do that, there is a bit of play. So I'm thinking I can use these as bracing and just run a 3x2 across there and then tie it in to the roof itself, just to give it a bit more support. I have been watching it this morning because it is occasionally it gusts with wind, and whilst it's not moving too much, it is moving, and I'd rather it didn't move at all. If that makes sense. Another little fiddly job is infilling around the base of the actual cabin itself. I don't know if you can see, but the feather edge board comes down almost to ground level, and there is still potential. Let me just see if I can find a spot. There we go, just down there. There is still potential to get under the cabin, which means if I can get under the cabin from here, little critters can do the opposite. They can get in from the outside under the cabin and then potentially pop out into the garden room, and I don't want that. Otherwise I'll be having loads of problems with mice, or worse, potentially rats coming in, and we don't want that. So a couple of little jobs there. The garage roof isn't a little job, that'll be a fairly sizable job. And of course I've got to empty everything out. I'll give the tractor a run as well, just to make sure it's not sat too long without being run, because that's not good for it. But first things first, get myself in the cabin, get a cup of coffee down me, play with the fire a little bit, make sure it is well alight, and I'll keep you posted with updates as we go along. Well, I just pulled a little red tractor out of the garage. I'll just leave it running for a few minutes, let it get warmed up. But I think you can see from inside the garage, this floor is wet, and you can see places like here, the weather is getting in. So the theory is I'll just skin over that with that metal sheeting, and I'll probably, even though it doesn't really need it, I'll probably just use something to have a double skin on the sides, mainly that side, but also a little bit on this side. The cabin itself, this is the cabin extension wall, so there's no weather coming from there or the original cabin there, but this side the cold can get in, and the same on this little section here, the cold can get in. So that's the theory. Skin the roof is the main one, and then have a think about, even if it's just a tarpaulin or something, just stretched out across there to make a second skin wall. I don't know, we'll see. So that's the theory. Camera's got all blurry for some reason, don't know why that is. That's better. It's a bit like me, wants a cup of coffee and relax for 5 minutes. So I'll let that run while I make my coffee, have that, and then I get cracking with these jobs. Hopefully the rain will stay away today, but you never know. We've had so much of it lately, I just don't believe it when the forecast says that we won't have any, because sure enough we nearly always do. Well, It's like old times with this painting. You get a load done and think you're finished, and then all of a sudden you're doing some more. But it's all progress. I could be here for a while. So I'll pop back and let you see when it's finished. I'm not doing many of these, I'll just do 2 for now, while I figure out what I'm going to do with the reinforcing that roof line. I don't actually think I'll need 2, but I'm doing them just in case. I'd rather do it now and find out I don't need it than set about the job and find out I do. Anyway, let me crack on with this and I'll catch up with you in a little while. Well, that's those 2 3x2s painted, so they can be drying. I keep promising myself a coffee and I think, oh, I'll just do that first, I'll just do that first. The fire is away. There is still an issue. Somebody said clean the chimney, and I will have to do that because it isn't drawing. So I'll try anything, any suggestions anybody can come up with, I'll be trying them. I've got the window open, and at the minute I've got the door open, but I'm that busy doing one more job before I get my coffee. So I am going to get my coffee, and then we can set about getting that roof done. It's not looking too bad actually, the sky. You never know, fingers crossed, we might get away with this and get it done without getting wet. But first things first, I do need to get that coffee down me, otherwise I'll never get one. And I'll be complaining later. Well, here we are. Finally got my coffee. I keep saying it, I come down and I open the cabin up and I go, I'll just have a cup of coffee before I start. Never happens, ever. I always launch into one job or another because I am conscious that the time just flies by. Got a sweat on. The time just flies by so quick. You look at your watch and you think you've only been here 10 minutes and you've been here for several hours. So yeah, a few things to do today. Main focus of attention really is that tractor garage. I am conscious that I'm abusing the little red tractor. Bless it, it just keeps going, and I'm feeling guilty that over these last few weeks I've been looking at all this rain coming down, and that feather edge board roof, it's been okay. It's kept the majority of the weather out, but it's not a proper watertight roof. And I've been meaning to get round to putting something permanent on there for quite a while now. And you know how it is, you've seen the videos. Whether it's material shortages, whether it's more often than not time shortages, or just the weather itself. There's always something that I needed to do before I got round to doing the tractor garage. So no excuse today. Right now it's not raining. We might have a bit of a break for a few hours because it is forecast for later. But I'll make that the focus of attention today, and I'll keep you updated as we go along in the videos. In terms of cabin chat, as always, I've never planned to do one. I just thought I'd sit down while I had my coffee and say hi to everyone. I hope you are all doing well, wherever you are, and bearing up with this. I have to be careful what I say in these videos. I thought I could get away with a few odd words here and there, but it seems that motorcyclist. It seems that the Google sensors are hard at work everywhere. I did a live stream just over a week ago now, and in the comments, few people asked questions about different things, and I can't in all honesty say what in particular the Google algorithm didn't like, because there was nothing really in there that was contentious. But some people did ask about self-defence in the UK, and I was very careful on what I was saying, because I don't like to talk about I have to be careful again now in case they mess with this video. Things that go bang and pop. There was a bit of conversation about those items, and I think perhaps that's what Google took umbrage with and restricted the live stream replay. So when I say I don't talk about politics or firearms or medical crises that we're going through in depth, it's not that I don't want to, because I do. It's just that I'm conscious that what is said in videos or in the chats, in the comment section in videos, is looked at by other people, and other people's views might not be the same as our views. So if it seems like I'm being a bit cautious, or if I suddenly stop midstream and change the wording of what I'm saying, it's for that reason and no reason other than that. I've noticed lots of YouTube channels have started moving over to other platforms, whether that's Patreon or Rumble or a variety of other platforms, and they do say it's for that reason. You just say one wrong word and all of a sudden your channel is restricted, demonetized, or worse, blocked completely. So if the Google algorithm is listening, please don't do that. There's nothing in these videos that is controversial, upsetting, intolerant of anything or other people. It's just a chat about what's going on in the world, and if you can't actually chat about what's going on in the world, there is something wrong with the world. Anyway, rant. This wasn't meant to be a rant, so apologies for that if it's suddenly turned into one. But it is crazy. It really is. All I'm doing is talking from one person to another person, or in your case, several people, about nothing that we shouldn't be able to talk about. So yeah, I'm sorry if I kind of guard my words sometimes, but that's why I do it. No other reason than that. So in terms of what is going on around in the world, there is a lot going on. I'm conscious that we've got people looking at these videos from lots of different countries around the world, so each will have its own particular problem right now. Some of them are very much the same. The ongoing medical issues that we're having, which are messing with people and people's well-being and people's ability to associate freely, move around freely, purchase items freely from the supply chain. That's all well disrupted and will continue to be disrupted well into next year. There is no escaping that. So hopefully you've got everything that you need to ride out a disruption in the supply chain for, I would say, up until summer next year, realistically. Here in the UK, we're currently, I think it's week 3 of a 4-week lockdown. We're supposed to come out of this on the 2nd of December, I think. I lose track of all the different big lockdowns, little lockdowns, short-term lockdowns, partial lockdowns. There's so many, it's absurd. Were I in charge, God help you all if I was, I would have been inclined to do things differently. And we'll not go there. Not today anyway. But yeah, we're into lockdown till 2nd of December, and then we're due to come out and let people run around getting prepared for the Christmas or winter holidays, which can only mean one thing. Everyone's going to be mixing with everybody else. The focus will be on, particularly at Christmas, eating, drinking, chatting, and generally kicking back, not having to go to work for a week or more, depending where you work. So it's a reality. As soon as that stops, and we head into the new year, we're going to have another big increase in the number of people affected by this medical issue that's floating around, which will invariably mean more restrictions and lockdowns. So do be ready for that. Christmas is a time, traditionally, where there are issues with the supply chain anyway, because everyone has got holidays of one shape or form over that period. Everybody deliberately stocks up because they're eating more, they're having parties, so they're getting through more food and drink. So it always is a traditional time where the supply chain struggles a little bit to keep up. Food on shelves definitely will start to become a little bit short in supply, and I suspect more so than usual, because people will be thinking about, shelves were empty, is it going to happen again? I'll buy a bit more. And also because we've got this ongoing supply chain issue through the medical issue that we're having now, which is disrupting manufacturing and delivery of goods to stores. So there will be some disruption, absolutely guarantee that. You might even see it with fuel. Again, people travel more over the winter or Christmas break, so use more fuel, so fill up more often, and fuel filling stations do depend on that daily delivery. And if there's any disruption to that daily delivery, the pumps are empty. We see that quite regularly in peak holiday times here in the UK. I've turned up at a petrol station no end of times, and my vehicle uses diesel rather than petrol, so normally there isn't an issue with that, but regularly I see it over holiday periods. I'll pull up at the pumps and they'll be, out of 8 pumps, maybe 2 have got fuel because they're waiting for the delivery truck to come. So do please stock up. Stock up because it's a traditional time where there could be a disruption or shortage, or the shelves could be a little thinner than usual, and also because of the potential for more lockdowns and disruptions to supply chain as we go through Christmas and into the new year. Kind of connected in with that, we've got a lot of people now in a lot of countries around the world who are pushing back on these restrictions. We're seeing that here in the UK, a lot in mainland Europe and in the States. I'm not quite sure about further afield because I don't get regular news from further afield unless it's dramatic, which these clearly mustn't be. But I am aware that it is happening in lots of places. And it's certainly been on the news here in the UK, showing protests in the UK, Germany, Holland, various mainland Europe countries, and of course in the States, where in addition to the medical issue, they've also got the election issue. So people are more disgruntled or grumpy than usual. And if there's any change to the proposed lockdowns, and God forbid, people didn't get Christmas as usual, I suspect there would be a lot more of this pushback. So again, bear that in mind and prepare yourselves accordingly. You don't really want to be having to go to the shops and to go past a load of people, unhappy people on the streets in order to get to the shops. And similarly, where there are groups of unhappy people on the streets, there will be groups of equally unhappy policemen and ladies who are there for no other reason to try and keep everybody safe at the end of the day. I do be careful, another rant potentially coming up. I do get annoyed, upset, frustrated, damned angry at times when I see people abusing the police in the streets because they're out doing things that they shouldn't be, and the police are doing their job and trying to stop them going out and doing things that they shouldn't be. And again, I have to be careful. Why do I have to be careful? Allegedly, we live in a free country, as do you. And yet I'm always doing this. I start to say something and then all of a sudden I'm thinking, because there are people, believe it or not, on YouTube that will take a comment and will report a comment, both to YouTube and externally. It's crazy, it really is. Oh, to be back in the olden days where we didn't have all of this nonsense. Yeah, so before I go off on a tangent again, just be conscious of that people are a little bit unhappy now and might be venting their frustration out in public, and you may need to be in proximity to those people as you go about your daily business. I would urge caution and say, whenever you do hear about things like protest action in the streets, don't go and have a look. It's so easy to get caught up in the moment, and as I say, the police are just doing their job, trying to maintain some semblance of order in these places, and the fact that you're there could be misconstrued. They might assume that you're also doing something you shouldn't be, even though you're not. So it is easy to get swept up in these things, either by the people doing the protest action themselves or by the police who are trying to keep the streets safe. So yeah, keep yourself prepared for shortages of certainly food and fuel over this next few months. Be aware that there could be some kind of disruption locally in terms of civil disorder, and just generally keep yourself safe. If you can, stock up and just keep your heads down. Go about your normal business and try and ignore those that are not doing anything normal. They're doing something abnormal. Well, my coffee's just about done. I'm conscious that I'm spending too much time in the cabin instead of out of the cabin, getting on with stuff. So I will get cracking now. I will keep you updated. Might be a bit difficult from time to time, particularly if I'm working around at height on the garden room roof or on the tractor garage roof, and I've only got one pair of hands. But I will try and maintain some kind of continuity of video clip for you so you can at least see what I'm doing, even if it's not a constant stream. Whatever you're doing, wherever you are, please do stay safe, and do please prepare yourselves for a possible disruption as we go through winter. It's not going to be possible, it's going to be definite. There will be some form or other, and hopefully we'll all get through this with the least amount of fuss and personal disruption as possible. So I'm going to get cracking. I'll see you all as we go through the video. Stay safe and stay well. I'll just quickly give you an idea of what I'm planning to do here. You can see the tractor garage roof with the this feather edge boarding that I've got on, and I've got these metal sheets. They are kind of square profile corrugated rather than the round profile of the roof on the cabin itself, and of course they're metal rather than plastic. Now these will overlap in a variety of different ways. You can just literally overlap the seams. Try and do this one-handed. So you've got the channeling that slips together. You can either go over with the long or the short edge. I don't think it really matters too much, so you end up with a full length profile, or of course you can overlap completely. Now that clearly will give you a greater weather tight seam than having just butt up to the edges here, but of course until I lay these down on the roof, I don't know quite how I'll be off for space. I know I've got enough to span the roof both left to right and front to back, but until I play with them I don't know whether I'll be able to overlap fully like this, or whether I might end up in some places just overlapping on the edge itself. Either way I'm not too worried. I can run some silicone down this edge if I need to, if it's a short overlap rather than a big profile overlap like this. But I just wanted to show you what I'm thinking before I start launching myself into it, because I've got to get across to the back, so I'm going to need two lengths, if I can do this one-handed. So I will have to overlap like this to get the full span all the way down to the edge here. So it is going to be a bit fiddly. I am conscious that there might be a bit of cursing. I'm also conscious now that if you try and lift this one-handed, you're going to bend the sheet, look. So I am going to have to be careful what I'm doing. And of course these edges are bloody sharp. So I am going to have some gloves on there, which in turn makes it difficult to work the camera. But anyway, let's get cracking on, because the wind's picking up and I want to try and get this done before there's any rain. I will take some clips as I go along. It just won't be continuous. It'll be sort of bits and pieces here and there as I make progress. But enough talking for now. Let me get this camera put down and let me get clambering around and see how this is all going to fit together, and more importantly I guess how we're going to attach it to this roof, because I'm screwing through metal sheets. So you just know that that's not going to be straightforward. I'm not quite sure how much or how well this you'll see, but I'm just trying to figure out where all the sheets go and the best way to overlap them. So I'm butted up against the cabin wall there. I'm butted against the original cabin wall under that rain guttering, and I'm just allowing a little bit of an overhang, not a lot. I'll maybe pull that out slightly. It's probably about, I don't know, 10 millimeters, half an inch tops. I might just slide that a little bit further out as I work along, but this is just a rough fit to see how it all goes. One thing I have noticed, nothing's ever easy, is it? When I get to this end, the garage is stepped out slightly, overlapping the cabin itself. And I don't know if you can see or not, but there's a drop on this board, this end board here. So what I'm going to have to do is put in a little fill strip just to raise, so that when I slide this sheet up, it actually sits on here rather than sitting on this cabin garage roof itself. So I'm just measuring up now how much wood I need to just drop a little strip in there. I'll screw that in and then I'll slide the sheet up. Bit of a debate as well, do I want to actually cover this gap, or do I want to just butt up to the edge of the cabin sorry, the garage. Don't know whether I'll get any benefit of covering that gap or not. Might do, I suppose. Anyway, it's all playing around at the moment, trying to figure out how it's going to work. But essentially, that's how it'll look once I've filled in. So I'll keep playing with it. I'll fill in the roof, get it rough fitted, and I'll show you what I've decided on this side. Do I overlap or do I not overlap that gap? I don't know. We'll see in a minute, I guess. Just putting that wooden strip across this end of the tractor garage roof so that the sheets can just rest on there, and that will just keep the fall the same. It won't matter that there's a little bit of a gap between the roof of the garage and the sheet. However, there's always something. I'm clambering around on this corner, putting all my weight on here. Mini crisis. It's split the wood on the hinge, so I've had to relocate the hinge on the door, which was a bit of a pain. But there's always something, isn't there? So yeah, slow progress, but it is progress. Now I've got this fiddly bit of putting this extra strip on here, I can get cracking and finish these sheets, and then you can see the rough fit in total. So there we go, that's the roof rough fitted in. You can see I've overlapped the sheets to give it a decent run off. It's not looking too bad, to be fair. I'm quite pleased with that. It just slightly overhangs where the doors close at the front. It's overhanging the sideboard, and again the sideboard's on this end. I decided not to fill that gap. I thought it would look a bit strange, and probably the wind would get underneath here and try and lift the sheets. What I will have to do though, along this front edge where the door is, I'll have to put a little infill somewhere across here, same as I've done here, just to give it a bit of support across here where it overlaps. But it's not looking too bad at all. I'm quite pleased with that. Just got to get it screwed down now before this wind lifts it off. Well, that's coming along quite nicely. You can see where I've been drilling the sheets, or screwing the sheets down. So I've got the front end by the garage door to do. I've just put a little infill strip, if you can see that or not. Probably see the wet paint. A little infill strip along the front. I've got this side to do as well. It is taking, as always, longer than I thought, and it's difficult stretching across that garage roof to get to the middle. I certainly can't stand on it. So a bit of acrobatics required, but we're getting there, slowly but surely. We're making decent progress. Which is not as easy as you think it will be. The only reason these are going in as relatively easy as they are is because I've pre-drilled the holes first. So every time I do one screw, it's two uses of the drill, one to drill the hole and one to put the screw in. But we're getting there, it's progress. Good progress actually. Well, that's the roof done. It was a bit acrobatic getting in that far corner. I had to climb onto the original cabin roof and then try to lean across from there. If you'd been able to see that, you'd have been killing yourselves laughing. Little casualty, but all in all, pleased. Everything is in and screwed down, and it's looking very nice all the way around. Very pleased. I think it's time I had a cup of coffee and a tidy up, because it is looking a bit messy round here. Well, it's gradually coming along. I'm just using some leftover weed control membrane just to line the inside, and to be fair, it's not looking too shabby. That should just help insulate a little bit. Just a double skin really, to try and stop it from getting too wet and cold in here over winter. Just got this one side to do. As always, got a lot of stuff to move out the way before I can do it, but progress, definitely progress. Roof's looking nice and the inside is looking nice. Very happy. Get that last piece done and I can relax for 5 minutes. Well, that's it. That's the inside lined out. I've done the long side. There's the water tanks and this little section between the garage and the garden room. So hopefully that'll make it much more water and weather tight, and maybe just warm it up a little bit as well inside. And talking about warming up, I need to tidy up this disaster area I've got going on, and at some point get a little tractor back inside before we get any rain. But that's a good job done. Pleased with that progress today. I can now really truly say that that tractor garage is watertight now, and a little bit more substantial. And with winter coming, I'll not be quite so worried about the tractor getting cold or frozen. But I need to stop being cold and frozen, get inside, have a cup of coffee and sit down for 5 minutes. I've just about worn myself out with that. I've just put the little red tractor away. This wind is picking up, so I'm really pleased I got that roof done. I think I'd have been struggling now trying to move those sheets around in this wind. So I'm just waiting for the kettle to boil. A bit of tidying up to do outside. I'll do that after I've had my coffee. And hopefully the paint will be dry on those 3x2s and I can start doing something with this supporting the roof in the garden room. Time as usual is flying by. It's gone lunch already. Don't know where this day goes. I'm going to have to close that polytunnel as well because this wind is getting too strong now, and it's only a matter of time before it whips up inside of there. Lots to do as usual. Never quite as simple as it seems. There's always another job, isn't there? I was waiting for the kettle to boil and I got distracted by putting this door furniture on. So I've got handles on all the doors now, which I've never had before. So that means at least I can shut the door and just bolt it into place. Stop that wind taking it out, and you just know it's going to swing open and break a pane of glass. Anyway, things now are inside, thankfully. I'll take a look at this roof. Might get some paint on that window, you never know. But more importantly, just run along the bottom of the cabin here and make sure it's critter proof. But first I am look at the mess in there. I am going to sit down with a cup of coffee, I promise. Oh dear me, I'm not getting much chance to sit down today. Tractor garage is done. Despite the best efforts of the wind. The wind's just been getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And those roof sheets, they are a bit lightweight. And they are blowing around a bit, or they were blowing around a bit. They're also a tad sharp. I've managed to slice a bit of that little finger. I'm just having 5 minutes, and I've been pottering with a couple of little fiddly jobs just to get them out of the way. Stupid things like door handles. I've never had door handles on the doors, so I've popped those on. That 3x2 wood is drying in the polytunnel. I'll bring that in a minute, and I'll just have a little measure up on that roof. This is a good opportunity actually to sit in this wind. It does keep gusting and blowing on the cabin roof, so I'm just watching to see what movement there is. There it goes. Just to see if I need to put any more screws in on the roof line. Touch wood. At the moment everything looks good. I mean, the strength of the wind, I do get a little bit concerned, and you would, wouldn't you? Having spent all of that time putting it up. But I just keep looking out and watching it move as the wind gusts. And to be fair, everything seems to be pretty solid, I have to say. I get that extra 3x2 spanning the roof. I'm just watching it now. There is one place. Sorry about this. I'm making a mental note for when I go back out. I'm just watching, there is one place there that seems to be just lifting a tad. So I'll see if I can get a screw in that. It's difficult now the roof's up, because you're working from the outside over. And that's certainly not capable of supporting my weight, clambering around out there. So a bit more gymnastics and stretching, I think, required. But I will pop out in a minute and have a look. But I do need this coffee. It's I don't know what time it is, to be honest. Must be getting on for 2 o'clock. The day just flies by, it really does. So I'll finish off this coffee. Just a little update for you on where we are. I have got, sat on the bench over there, another CCTV camera, which I was hoping to get up today, but there are other things that are more important to do, especially critter proofing in that garden room, because I do know for sure there's something under the shed or the cabin. I've mentioned it in previous videos, there's some kind of stoat or weasel or something that's under there, and I have seen the odd little mouse scuttering in and out outside. So the last place I want them is in here. So I will close that off today if I do nothing else today. I don't know if you can hear that or not on the video. I guess I'll find out in the edit. But it is rattling those roof panels, this wind. So this will be a quick cup of coffee, I'm afraid, because I am itching to get back out there and get cracked on we're only looking at a couple more hours and I'll start to lose the light. So onward and upward, we'll make a bit more progress. Since I mentioned this while I was having my coffee, this is the CCTV. It's exact same as the ones I've already got. And as you can see, I've not even opened it yet. I did want to get that up. It's not going to go up today for sure, but there is always tomorrow. So at some point tomorrow, I'll do a little video of me unboxing that and figuring out where it's going to go with the others on the cabin. Well, that was fiddlier than it needed to be because I've had to work around the foundation blocks, but the main objective was to get it critter proof, which clearly it now is, so that's good. The roof batten is in, so that's just providing a little bit more support across that roof line, so that's good. And it's made quite a bit of difference actually, whereas before I could push that. I still can push it, but I'm giving it some significant pressure. So that's the biggest jobs out of the way that I wanted to do. I'm going to close that polytunnel now before it takes off in the wind, but it won't be much longer before I'm finished. Well, there's always one last thing, so quickly painted around the window and just installed a proper window catch onto there as well. It had a little like hook and eye thing on before, which is not really very good. So what's needed now is to put everything away because it's looking like a bit of a disaster area. Certainly get all the steps and stuff from outside and get tidied up. Soon be time to go. Well, that's it for another day. Pleased I got that garage roof done. It was really bugging me that. Everything's locked up. It's all looking very nice. Still loads and loads to do, but you can only do so much in a day. So that's me done. Polytunnel's locked up and I've covered up the wood pile, so I'm good to go. Get home, get something to eat, get a shower and get uploading this video.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. How is it looking with the new roof on the tractor garage? Do let me know in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.